Okay, so GIZ is the implementing hand of German federal government, and so we work on behalf of the German federal government. German federal government has a bilateral agreement with the government of India, and through that bilateral cooperation, we work in India. So GIZ has basically structured in four clusters, and these clusters are energy, environment, climate change, and biodiversity, sustainable urban development and industrial development, and sustainable economic development. So these are basically the four clusters in which GIZ India is structured, and we would then implement projects. And without getting into the details of the projects, but the running line is always sustainable development, inclusivity, and also the climate goals. So these are kind of our main thematic areas. So whatever we do, it has to meet those aspirations. And I am part of the urban cluster. India, we have around 8,000 cities. Okay, and out of these 8,000, only 4,000 are statutory cities. What I mean to say that these cities, 4,000, only half of these, I've just rounded it off, are being governed by urban local bodies or the urban governance system. The rest are governed by, which are called census towns, are governed by rural governance system. So one is that if we have to kind of accept that urbanization, and if you see the history also, any country that has made the development trajectory progression has always dependent on the urbanization. So we have not come across any country which is saying that I am rural and I'm also gone into the development trajectory. So we have to take this tough call. We have to urbanize. For long we have denied it, but now we are accepting it. But are we doing enough? That's a big question. And when you say that with each one making a pressure, I would say look at this kitty of 8,000 cities. Many of the cities are not actually urban in the urban sense. They are not like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai. So there is a lot of hope that we have if we catch them early. We will not make the same mistakes as we have done in Mumbai, Delhi, or Chennai. So there's a possibility that we kind of disaggregate and we take the cities that really requires attention, like all these big metropolitans. But the smaller ones, which are right now not in the radar, needs to be caught early. And urbanization process there we have to intervene and take them through and not make the same mistakes. So once the mess is created, it's very difficult and costly to do the retrofitting. But where the mistakes are not done, I think we should take that opportunity and we should be able to intervene. And if you see the data, it's the small and medium towns where the growth is happening. So these are the potential places where we should focus. Scholars are arguing that we should focus, but I don't think there is enough traction till now at the policy level when I see the investment in these things. So small and medium are the ones who are not visible, and there's a potential for us to address these issues which are easy to solve, and the other ones, the big ones, we can tackle parallel. I completely agree with you that even Delhi, which has master plans, but scholars argue that 60% of Delhi is being developing outside the plan, and if you see all the other smaller cities that doesn't have a master plan. So is master plan a prerequisite for a plan development? And we can say that no, it is not, because Delhi has a master plan and it has not grown accordingly. But I would say that, I would not say the crux is that. The crux is nowhere in the world people have urbanized with so less resources. Okay, and and also the human capacity. Like yesterday, you were in a village doing agriculture. Suddenly, one industry comes and your land, gets value accelerated, and then you are not doing agriculture anymore, but you are putting up houses to rent. So I think what we need to understand is that how the urbanization is happening, and what are the things where we should, as a public policy, intervene and where we should not do it. So where we should do and where we should not do it also is a critical thing. So this is would be the and we have to chart our own path. We cannot borrow from anyone's experience because China is a comparable country, but then China's scale is comparable. But our governance systems are so different that we cannot borrow it from them also. So India has to really make its own trajectory, and we need to work on that. And you must have seen the Niti Aayog's report, very recent one, where they are saying where are the urban planners? Who is doing it? We don't have people actually. So capacity building of people to tackle this task is one of the tasks that GIZ is also supporting. So this is our main work. GIZ essentially is a capacity enhancement organization. We support in capacity building, and we are saying that if you want to urbanize, you need to have not only the financial resources but also human resources, and you have to train people to understand these issues in that perspective. Um, one of the challenge of this particular times is that we have to be agile. We have to be agile, and we have to public policies cannot be made in the traditional way as it was before. We could not say that, okay, we will first see something, understand it, and then we would say, let's adopt. But by the time you say that, the technology has changed. So I agree with Niti Aayog where they say that you have to use technology. And this technologies most often are the disruptive technologies. I think public policy has to protect that when you use a disruptive technology, you should not marginalize your own citizens. So, how to use disruptive technology responsibly is the job of the public policy. So, I personally feel is that you cannot say no to anything. You have to figure it out. Who knew about it that we would have mobile in everyone's hand? Like for example, I was experiencing and exchanging with one of my Bangladesh colleagues. They never laid the landline. They switched over to mobile phone because that was the technology. How foolish would have been for Bangladesh to say that nee, nee, we have to do the landline and then we would get into the mobile phone. And when the mobile phone came, it revolutionized their gender relations, their workforce participation, and everything. So, in a nutshell, I would say that we have to be agile. We have to be having a absolutely open idea towards technology. If we do not do it, somebody else would do it. But the role of the state is to use it responsibly and not. So you have to bring me on the zero line closer. Not that we all would have the same starting line, but at least bring us closer so that we can participate more, equitably. So, and this also applies for my gender relations. There was a time when we were always going and having a physical meeting. Now, in the COVID times, we were all having virtual. And I tell you that, like my experience has been the world has really shrunk. It became like suddenly, if you can align your time zones, you can participate. But that may not be the story for all. This may be a story for only 14% of people who are in the formal sector. But if you see the other ones, they were completely devastated. They were out of the circuit. So, yes, digital divide is something that we need to address. And but we cannot say that we will first address that and then do the technology. We have to do this simultaneously, and that's the challenge. Because you cannot have this linear way of thinking any further. Things have changed, and we need to kind of do a hit and trial method, and state has to play that role of bridging the digital divide.